Right now, if you go to Germany, if you go to Scandinavia, do you know how much it costs to go to college in those countries? Zero. And those governments aren't dumb. What they understand is that investing in their young people is investing in the future of their economies and their countries. And here is something else that a lot of people don't talk about. 40, 50 years ago, here in California, your great public university system, do you know how much it cost, tuition-wise, to go to the University of California? It costs virtually nothing. So we have got to ask ourselves a rather simple question. How does it happen that 40, 50 years ago, people could go to the University of California virtually tuition-free, but not today? If we could do it 50 years ago, we sure as heck can do it today. I want you all to know what it means if we have tuition-free public colleges and universities. It says to kids in Burlington, Vermont, or in Cathedral City, kids like myself, who grew up not with a lot of money, parents didn't go to college. You got kids out there who never, for 1 second, think that they're going to be able to go to college because they're just too poor. We are telling every child in California today, and every child in America, that if you study hard, you take school seriously, you do well in school, yes, you will be able to get a college education regardless of the income of your family. And that is what America is supposed to be about. How many people here right now are dealing with student debt? I've been all over this country and the response is always the same. We got millions of people dealing with student debt. You go to medical school, I've talked to doctors now, $300,000 in debt. Talk to dentists graduating dental school, $400,000 in debt. Kids who have dropped out of college, $60,000 in debt. People who have been paying off their debt month after month for decades. That is nuts. We should not be punishing people for doing the right thing and getting an education. And that is why I believe that anybody who has student debt today, and some of those folks are paying interest rates of 6, 8, 10%, I believe that those people should be able to refinance their loans at the lowest interest rates they can find. Now, people say to me, they say, Bernie, you know, you're Santa Claus, you're a nice guy, you're giving away all of these things. You're giving away free tuition in public colleges, you got a substantially lower student debt. How are you going to pay for it? Well, let me tell you exactly how we're going to pay for it. You know, it's always a funny thing that when you fight for working families and you fight for low-income families, suddenly it's just so expensive we can't afford it. But when you go to war in Iraq, no problem, we got trillions of dollars. Donald Trump wants to give hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks to the top 0.2%. Not a problem. But I'll tell you how we're going to pay for free tuition in public colleges. And that is we're going to impose a tax on Wall Street speculation. Now here's something that's a little bit scary, but it's true and it's important to know this. It's not just that Wall Street's greed and recklessness and illegal behavior drove this country into the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression. That's true. But it is also that Wall Street, the most powerful political and economic entity in America, their business model, their basic business model is based on fraud. That's what it is. Some of you may know that Goldman Sachs, 5 or 6 weeks ago, they reached a settlement with the United States government for $5 billion. And they reached that settlement because they acknowledge that the subprime mortgage packages they were selling were worthless, and they were ripping off the American people. I believe that today we should impose a tax on Wall Street speculation that will bring in more than enough money to provide free tuition and substantially lower student debt. This campaign is listening to the Latino community. And the Latino community points out that we have 11 million undocumented people today, that many of those people who are at work right now are being exploited. Because when you don't have legal rights, your employer can cheat you, can pay you below the minimum wage, cannot give you the benefits that you are entitled to, and you cannot fight back. That is why I believe that we need comprehensive immigration reform in this country and a path towards citizenship. Our immigration policy should be to unite families, not divide families. And if Congress does not do its job and pass immigration reform legislation, I will use the executive powers of the presidency to do what I can. Too many people in this country are living in fear. We've got to end the current deportation policies. This campaign is listening to the African American community. They are asking me why it is that throughout this country, inner cities of America are crumbling, unemployment rates outrageously high. There are communities in America where there are no grocery stores, there are no bank branches, there is no access to decent health care. We are going to change our national priorities. Instead of rebuilding communities in Afghanistan, we're going to rebuild communities in inner cities in this country. This campaign is listening to the Native American community. Everybody here knows that the Native American community has been lied to, has been cheated from the first day, from before this country became a country. And yet our culture, who we are as a people, owes the Native American people a debt that can never fully be repaid. They have taught us so much. Among other things, they have taught us a profound lesson that we must learn. And that is, as human beings, we are part of nature. We must live with nature. And that if we continue to destroy nature, we are destroying the human species. We're destroying ourselves. And that takes me to the issue of clean water in America. In our country and all over the world, there is a growing crisis with regard to clean drinking water, and that is why I believe we have got to end fracking. Now, that is not the position of my Democratic opponent, Secretary Clinton. But on that issue, we are right, she is wrong. We got to end fracking. I am a member of the U.S. Senate Committee on the Environment. And I will tell you what every person here knows, because you have eyes to see. And that is that anyone who tells you that climate change is not real is lying to you. It is beyond my belief, and I really say this, I have strong disagreements with Republicans. I'm probably the most progressive member of the Senate. I have disagreements, but when you have Republican candidates like Trump and virtually all the rest get up and say climate change is a hoax. What world are they living in? The idea that they will reject what almost every scientist who studies this issue all over the world is saying is beyond comprehension and incredibly dangerous. The truth is, A, climate change is, of course, real. Our planet is getting warmer every day. B, the evidence is overwhelming. Climate change is caused by human activity. And C, as you well know here in California, climate change is already causing major problems in the United States and, in fact, all over the world. That's the fact. And it saddens me that the Republican Party, with very few exceptions, is so beholden to the fossil fuel industry that they don't have the guts to acknowledge reality. But we acknowledge reality, and we know that we have a moral responsibility to leave this planet in a way that is healthy and habitable for our children and our grandchildren. We will take on the fossil fuel industry. And we will transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to sustainable energy, wind, solar, geothermal, and energy efficiency. When as human beings, we think about what the needs are of people. We all need to eat well. We all need to breathe clean air. We all need a roof over our heads. But you know what else we all need? Whether we're rich, whether we're poor, whether we're young, whether we're old, we need access to quality health care. Now, television doesn't discuss this very much, but every other major country on earth guarantees health care to all people as a right, and that's what we have got to do here in the United States. How many people here have no health insurance? Wow, okay. All right, and you all know what that means when you walk around without any health insurance. That you can't go to a doctor when you're sick, that if you get into an accident, you're going to go deeply into debt. How many people here have insurance but are paying high deductibles and high co-payments? And that means if you don't have any money, even if you have insurance, you're not going to go to the doctor when you're sick because you can't afford the co-payment or the deductibles, all right? Well, I think it is time to end all of that stuff. I think it is time for the United States to guarantee health care to all people as a right. And that is why we are going to pass a Medicare for all health care system. It is absurd that 29 million Americans have no health insurance. Many of you are underinsured, and every one of us is getting ripped off by the unconscionable greed of the pharmaceutical industry. They spend billions of dollars on lobbying and campaign contributions to make sure that our people pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. Our message to them is whether they like it or not, that greed is going to stop. People in this country should have access to the medicine they need when they need it. People should not be dying or getting sick because they can't afford the medicine they require. And by the way, there is going to be a ballot item in November here in the California ballot, which calls on the state of California to control the cost of prescription drugs, and it's a great idea. I would urge you to support it. And the pharmaceutical industry will spend tens of millions of dollars on TV ads. Do not believe them. The top 5 drug companies last year made $50 billion in profit, while 1 out of 5 Americans could not afford to fill their prescriptions. Everybody here knows that real change always takes place from the bottom on up, never from the top on down. That is the history of the workers' movement and the creation of trade unions. It is the history of the civil rights movement and the fight against slavery and racism and bigotry. It is the history of the women's movement. 100 years ago, people don't know this, they forget it. 100 years ago, not a long time ago, women in America did not have the right to vote, did not have the right to get the education or the jobs they wanted. 100 years ago, women were told that their function in life was to stay home and have babies. But women stood up and fought back. And women said that in America they will not be second-class citizens. And that's how change takes place. And change takes place when people in the gay community, with their straight allies, they said that in America, we're going to end discrimination against the LGBT community. And I want you all to know, what I think most of you do, is that that fight for gay rights was a very difficult fight because the gay community and their straight allies were taking on an incredible level of ignorance and bigotry and homophobia. But the gay community stood up, and what they said is that in the United States, people should have the right to love whoever they want, regardless of gender. And today, as a result of that struggle, gay marriage is legal in every state in America. Brothers and sisters, we are at a pivotal moment in American history. And the danger that we face is both our economy and our political system is becoming more and more oligarchic. Our politics are controlled by a handful of billionaires who spend unlimited sums of money trying to buy elections. Our economy is controlled by a small number of multinational corporations who could care less about the average worker, and their greed has done incalculable harm to the middle class of this country. What this campaign is about is asking people to stand up to the status quo and to think outside of the box. What this campaign is about, and I am seeing it from coast to coast, people are looking around them and saying, why is it I am working longer hours for low wages? Why is it that my pension is being threatened? Why is it that I'm forced to work for $9 an hour and almost all new income and wealth is going to the 1%? People are asking, how does it happen that for 30 years the middle class of this country has been shrinking while the very rich become richer? People are asking, why is it that kids are leaving college $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 in debt? People are asking, how does it happen that in this great country we are the only major nation on earth not to guarantee paid family and medical leave? Why are we the only country not to guarantee health care to all people? Why is it that our infrastructure is crumbling and we got millions of people who have no jobs? Why is it that corporations that are giving you big billions and don't pay a nickel in taxes? People are looking out all over this country and they are saying, enough is enough. People people are beginning to stand up and fight back and demand that we have a government that represents all of us, not just wealthy campaign contributors. On June 7th, there is going to be a very, very important Democratic primary here in California. 475 delegates are at stake. If we have a large voter turnout, we are going to win the California primary. So I hope that on June 7th, you'll bring out your family, you'll bring out your friends, your co-workers, and let this great state, one of the most progressive states in America, tell the world you are ready for the political revolution. Thank you.
I can see